People fear what they don't understand.
I feel like if people actually really got to know someone who was Muslim or Middle Eastern, they would see they probably have a lot.
I think superheroes really allow us to have a very positive role model.
We all know that there's diversity within ourselves and our own group, but we don't give that possibility to the other, whatever the other may be. But I don't know anything about comic books or superheroes.
Excellent. What do you think of this notion of Islamic superheroes inspired by Islam?
I can respect the trying to correct the perception.
Dealing with is he's trying to find a common ground between the East and West.
I had heard of this concept before, I'm sure it was his, and was intrigued by the whole idea that this kind of avenue is available to Islam. And I really appreciate
to see someone who tries their best to make the community a better place, but it also gives us a realistic view, because there's no superhero without faults.
When bad people get a hold of a good thing, sometimes it screws it up for the rest of it. You heard that saying, one bad apple ruins the bunch? That's the thing. So when he's saying heroes, inspired by Islam, he said it himself that they weren't Islam characters, they were just inspired by them. And he said, oh crap, don't let my children watch this. It's like, you're afraid your child going to become an Islam, you're afraid your child is going to do something crazy, like try to, set himself on fire and stuff like that. But it's, like he said, it's not so.
A lot of it has to do with upbringing, like how your parents kind of raise you, the environment you're raised in has something to do with it. And I think also it has a lot to do with your own internal wanting to know more about what's around.
In general, we've lost respect for the truth.
We've had such a terrible outlook on Islam for such a long time that people are afraid of change.
Over there in Middle East, they think he's bringing something from the West to them. It's a kind of westernized ideas. But in West, they think he's trying to bring an Easternized idea or Islamic ideas. And this is the problem he's facing, and it's amazing how he deals with them, and he's taking his time and patience about these problems.
It may just take a little bit of time. I think if people just open their minds a little bit.
First at CSU, the communications department had done a study of cartoons that were on television at the time, and they uncovered the fact that a good many of them were of Japanese origin, but it wasn't acknowledged. They came from Japan, they were translated into English, and the big difference was that Mighty Mouse, Superman, all of these were individual heroes who made a difference. But in the Japanese concept, it's always a group mentality that triumphs. If the individuals try, it doesn't work. But if they get together, their combination of powers and attributes and all of that make a difference. And so there was a Japanese influence coming in sort of undercover. It was a cultural concept that the group is more important than the individual, and it was having an impact on American kids,
Right, a lesson that was reinforced.
That's right.
In the Super Friends.
That's exactly. And so all of that comes out after the fact of Japanese values infiltrating the United States. So the same thing could be happening here. So that notion of criticism that's leveled against it, that the Islamic values are being introduced, may well be the case, but they're not necessarily negative values.
Right.
They're positive ones that can be reinforced.
Well, it would be a combination of a top-down and bottom-up strategy. Real teaching in the schools, not teaching to tests like we do now, and civil discourse like you're trying to promote at the very beginning in primary school, allowing a diversity of ideas to come in without pillaring teachers for doing things off the grid, and then top-down politicians particularly saying you really need to get back to the truth and not slinging mud all the time.
I think what the world of superheroes has done for the world itself is give children something to look up to and something to try to become. Not the powers themselves, but the values that the superheroes represent.